Hello children of standard 10. Here I am with a very important topic in standard 10 called as sound. Now sound, as you all know, is a form of energy. Same like light, sound is also a form of energy, and both sound and light follow the laws of reflection. Now why do you call them a form of energy is because anything which is able to travel from say one place to the other, that itself becomes the concept of energy. And in that concept, sound and light both are a form of energy. Also, same like light, sound also follows laws of reflection. So here I am with a small experiment to explain you how sound follows the laws of reflection. Now, suppose there is a cardboard over here and I am keeping a long tube of cardboard on one side and there is another long cardboard tube on the other side. Right? At one end of this tube is supposed to be a small watch, okay, which is ticking, and the other end, the other tube's other end, you have to keep your ear over there. Now, this is a cardboard, you can see a thick cardboard, right? Now, as you start the watch, the sound waves will start traveling. As they travel, they will strike against this hard object or the support. What happens to those light waves? Since they follow the law of reflection, hence the tendency of those sound waves will be to get reflected back and they will fall into a person's ear and he is able to hear the ticking of the sound. If you want, you can keep a small cardboard, a thin cardboard here, so that this ticking cannot be heard directly. So there is some barrier between the both. And from this concept came the logic that sound follows laws of reflection. Now, if you have studied laws of reflection for light, what is the first law? The first law says angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Now, if you have drawn this line, say like a normal to the surface, and if you are able to measure this angle, which you call as angle of incidence. Why? Because the sound was incident from here. And if you are able to find this angle, this will be angle of reflection as sound came back through this path. And in this case, if you try to see this, the angle of incidence and angle of reflection will be same. What is the second law of reflection? Is that the incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal at the point of incidence lie on the same plane, that is on the plane of the paper. So both the laws of reflection are followed in sound also. So sound like light follows laws of reflection. So hence both the laws are followed over here. You know the second law is the incident ray, comma, the reflected ray and the normal lie on the same plane. By plane we mean a plane of a paper or a blackboard, anything, at the point of incidence. So these two laws followed by sound. Now, after explaining sound, I told you how sound and light in some forms are similar. Both are form of energy, and both travel from one place to another, obviously, and what you can say is both follow laws of reflection. But still there are some differences between sound and light waves, which you should be able to tell properly. Now, when you talk about sound wave, children, what is sound wave? If I bang a table very loudly like this, you are able to hear it over there. Now, that is because of like you are away from me but through some electrical means. But if a person sitting in this room is also able to hear this, because when I bang the table, this material, then those waves are traveled into the air. So air acts as a medium, and that medium, when it bangs against your ear, the eardrum starts vibrating and then the sensation reaches to the brain. So that is how sound wave travels. So that's why sound wave is also called as a mechanical wave. Why a mechanical wave? Because suppose there are these particles, then because of vibrations in the air, because of these vibrations in the air, this energy passes to this particle. say from A to B to C to D. So every time the particles vibrate and mechanically the sound is moving. Also it has a tendency to come back to its original position. That's why they are also called as elastic waves. Because if you see an aeroplane flies in the air, so when it is flying in the air, it must be vibrating the air molecules obviously. But then after some time what happens is when the aeroplane is gone, the air particles have a tendency to go back over there. So these sound waves exist in that medium for some time and then they are back to their original position. Hence these are the elastic waves. What are light waves? You might have studied gamma rays, microwaves, radio waves. All these are present in the atmosphere, but they are a combination of electric and magnetic waves. So please keep in mind always light waves are electromagnetic waves because they are a combination of electric and magnetic field. So secondly, you can say children sound waves. Now see, if you see a tuning fork like this is a tuning fork, and suppose you bang it against a hard object, and what will happen is the toms will start vibrating. So this will be one position of the tom, this will be the another position. So when they vibrate, along with that they are vibrating the medium, which is the air, and then you will see that the air particles, sometimes they are close, sometimes they are far apart from each other. So the sound wave is traveling in this direction mechanically. This is the direction it follows. And these type of waves are called as longitudinal waves. They comprise of compressions and rarefaction. Rarefaction is when the air particles are away from each other. Compression is when they are together or they are close by. So now you will see sound waves are also called as longitudinal waves, or rather sound waves are in the form of longitudinal waves, whereas light waves are always in this form. What is this form of a wave called as? This is called as a transverse wave. So light waves will be transverse wave. Why? Because they are a combination of electric and magnetic, and together they form a combination of transverse wave. Third point is the speed. You know that the speed of sound is much lesser than the speed of light. That's why we hear the we see the lightning first and then we hear the thundering. Speed of sound in air is around 340 meter per second in air, whereas for light it is 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. So speed of light is much higher. The fourth point what you can talk about is about the material medium. Just now I told you, a person in this room is able to hear my sound or my voice is because there is a material medium present. So medium is required. Medium is necessary. Otherwise you will not be able to hear it. If you go in the space wherein there is no air or there is vacuum, then a person cannot speak with the other person. As there is no air medium, then he will have to use the other means wherein the sound can travel. Also light waves. Now as I told you, the sun's light comes to you from a very far distance, but there are so many vacuum, there are so many black holes present in between, but still it is able to travel. So it means that light waves does not need a material medium to travel. Then these are the basic 4 differences. Then also you can talk about sound wave travels in water. Do you know how much is the speed of sound in water? It is around 1450 meter per second in water. So compared here children to air, in water it is traveling much faster. Why? Because in water the molecules are closely packed. So the speed of sound in water speed of sound is higher. Okay, but in case of light what happens is speed in water speed is slow. So compared to this, the speed will be slower in case of light waves. So this is the basic difference between sound and light waves, asked many a times, and still children find it difficult to write the differences. Now after that comes an important part in sound, which is called as echo. Now what do you mean by echo, children? Echo means nothing but reflection of sound. So now suppose if you go on a hilltop, suppose you are on a hilltop and then there are so many hills in front of you or mountains are there. And if someone tells you to talk loudly or say something loudly, what will happen when you say? After a while, you are able to hear your sound for the second time. So once when you spoke and once when it reflected back. So there was a source, that is you are speaking. There is a reflecting body, that is a mountain, or could be a big huge room is there which is long enough. Then that can be a wall, also can be a reflecting body. So there is a source, there is a reflecting body. But does that only help you in getting echo? No. A small room can give you reverberations. Reverberation is not same as echo. Reverberation is, suppose if I empty my room fully, right? There is nothing, no sofa, no bed, nothing is there, and just you speak. What will happen? You are able to hear your sound many times. That is not echo. Why? Because in that the conditions of echo are not followed. Reverberation is just continuous hearing of the rolling of sound you hear. Why is it happening? Because there is no material there to absorb the sound waves. There are no curtains, there are no beds, there are no sofa. There is nothing which will absorb the sound waves. And hence those sound waves reflect and come back into your ear. But that is not an echo, that is reverberation. So get the difference between reverberation and echo. Now, echo happens in specific conditions, which I am going to write over here. Now, when you talk about conditions of echo, very, very important are the three conditions for formation of echo. For formation of echo. First thing is, children, the minimum distance. The minimum distance between the source and the reflecting body should be 17 meter. Okay, so minimum distance is 17 meter. Done. Second thing is, you can say the wavelength of sound. The wavelength of sound, that is the wavelength of my sound, the source, should be less than height of reflector. Height of reflector. What do you mean by height of reflector? Any wall or a mountain would be a reflector. So its height has to be more than the wavelength of sound, or rather wavelength of sound has to be lesser than the height of reflector. Then only it will come back. And then the third thing, what you must be doing is the intensity of your sound. Intensity should be very, very high. Intensity should be much, much higher, so that it is so much intense that it will go, strike and come back. That much intensity. That's why whenever the people say that I could hear the echo of my sound, that time a person has to talk very loudly, and hence its intensity is increasing. So these are the three basic conditions. But how do we get 17 meter and why are we able to hear a echo? First of all, see. Now why echo is this phenomenon, why are we able to see, is because of a very, very important concept of human being, that is persistence of hearing. If this wasn't there, echo would not have been there. What is persistence of hearing? Any sound which is created falls on your ear and it remains there for 0.1 seconds. That is 1/10 of a second it remains on your ear and then it fades away. So suppose if you speak from here, it falls over here and comes back and you are able to hear. Then the difference between the original sound and the reflected sound has to be, the time difference has to be 0.1 second. Only then you can distinctly differentiate between the two sounds. Say this is, I said something, say hello, and then it came back after 0.1 second and then I am able to hear it back. So I can hear the original sound as well as the reflected sound. So the basic condition is persistence of hearing, which is always 0.1 second. This is an important concept in the part of echo. Now, how do we get 17 meter? Suppose you are standing over here and this is the reflecting body. So say this is the source of sound. So you speak from here, the sound goes over here and it comes back, right? The distance traveled is say d and the time is say t. But we know we are able to hear it only because the sound difference between them is 0.1 second because of persistence of hearing. Now, let us say V. What is velocity formula? Velocity is distance upon time. But children, what distance do we take over here? D plus D. We will not take only D because that is a condition of echo, that the sound goes and comes back. So it will be 2d upon t in case of echo. So velocity will be, I'll do it over here so that you can see the working also properly. So I told you this is the distance, this is it goes, it comes back over here. So this is the source and this is the reflecting body. Right? So now we say velocity is equal to 2d upon t in case of echo. For direct method, you say v is equal to d upon t. That is fine. If in general, if you are talking about any sound traveling some distance in some time, then that is called as a direct method, children. That is also always v is equal to d by t. But when you talk about echo, you have to know that the distance is made double. So that time you will take 2d by t. Now, velocity in air for the sound, we are taking as 340 meter per second. It varies between 320 to 340 to 360 depending upon the humidity and the temperature difference and all that. So 2d and time I told you because of persistence of hearing it is 0.1 second. So I take it over here. Cross multiply 340 into 0.1 divided by 2. That gives you d. Hope you got it. Now I took 340 here. So this will go 170s are. And 170 into 0.1 will give you 17 meter. And that is why the first condition is the minimum distance between the source of the sound and the reflecting body has to be 17 meter. It can be more than 17 but cannot be less than 17 meter. So what you hear inside a room is obviously not an echo. It is just a reverberation. It is continuous rolling of the sound which you are able to hear because there are no absorbers of sound. So this was about echo part which you should be knowing the conditions of. And with echo I finished this part of the chapter sound, and I will be coming back in the next video with some more interesting facts about sound. Thank you.